Hi, welcome. So if you're watching this video, you most likely work in the construction industry. And one of the key things I'm doing this year is trying to obviously fight mediocre. And one thing that will help a lot is actually to educate clients the importance of good design. So with good design will come better buildings and obviously better working environments at the end of the day. So in this video, I put together two characters that I put together a couple of years ago, explaining the differences of being a Do It Dave or a Planet Paul. So if you're interested in that, please watch on. Thanks.
Welcome to Build Great, where we ask the question, why build mediocre when you can build great? We hope you join us on the fight against mediocre. Now back to Ryan.
So welcome back, my name is Ryan, and in this episode I'm going to be talking to you about Planet Paul and Do It Dave, and which one you probably might want to be. So who is Do It Dave? Well, these are characters I put together trying to explain to people who are not in the construction industry the advantages of planning out their construction and planning out their design phases properly. And if you work in the construction industry, obviously you'll know the benefits of doing this, and you'll know the benefits of actually employing experts and design teams. But if it's your first sort of project, the only sort of reference you tend to have is the TV, and unfortunately that paints a picture of just being a Do It Dave, jump in and gun-ho and just get it done sort of attitude. Great for TV, but in reality it's not how we want to really actually be building buildings. So Do It Daves, they literally get the plot of land, they get planning permission, and they literally start work the next day. What this has a problem is once they're on site, they realise actually halfway through they get to problems having to pay out lots more money than they need to. They don't have the correct contracts, they don't have the correct sort of phasings, and then they don't have the correct sort of contractor, they haven't done their due diligence, which causes problems and end up having more higher risk than they really should be. Planet Pauls, on the other hand, what they do is they take a step back and then they actually look at what's the best way to design the building, how the best way to procure the building. They make sure they have the decent contract in place, they have ways of monitoring quality whilst the project is going on, and they've enlisted experts who have gone through the process many a times, and they have de-risked the project as much as possible. So if that, I know which one I personally would prefer to be, obviously a Planet Paul, because I have seen the benefits of planning out projects, and I've also seen the other side of the having to sort out projects for Do It Daves. So I'm going to give a couple of examples, but firstly, I was on site today in London, visiting a block of flats, and I took a little bit of footage of some of the sort of buildings that I was passing by. So I'm going to run a little bit of that and give you a bit of a contrast. Well, firstly, I'm going to start with a few contrasting images of where I currently live and compared to London, so it gives you a bit of a contrast. So I'll run that, and then when you come back I'll explain a little bit of Do It Daves and Planet Pauls. So thanks. So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that a little bit. Regards to Do It Daves, I can't obviously expressly say the particular contract. There's a couple of examples that come to mind. One, we had an email from an architect the other day to come to site and try and rectify the problems. What they've got is they've got a contractor that's gone bust. They've had people multiple subcontractors on site. They don't know who's actually installed things, and they haven't monitored any quality or anything during it. And now they've finished, they've had problems with the heating systems, everything else, and the whole building needs to be completely sort of reserviced in terms of taking it back to see what actually can be scrutinized and developed and improved the situation. Unfortunately, this actually is from an architect themselves. They should have known really better to actually implement a better way of doing their own home contract, but unfortunately they're in that sort of position, and we hate coming into buildings like that. We much prefer the way that we always recommend is the Planet Pool method, and that another example of a Planet Pool method project we did was Dorchester Community Church. They couldn't afford the initial quotes from contractors. We got on board, put together a performance specification, worked with the client on what they want from the building, so then the contractors can appropriately price for it. Then they can, then the client has a contract as well in place with the contractors, and we monitor the quality on the build. And then what that ends up being is that during the design phase, we say it saved money on the bottom line. We also meant that most of the risks have been de-risked before they even get to site, so there was virtually no sort of, well, there's a couple of hiccups, but that's like everything on most projects, but there were very insurmountable, so we worked with the contractor, and it didn't cost the client any more money or any more stress, to be honest. And then the building's results speak for themselves. The client's very happy with what they've got at the moment. So those are two sort of examples. There are many more of we having to come to site after the project has been completed because they haven't got the correct documentation in place, etc. I know it sounds boring, but you are building a building for the first time. It's a prototype. You also need to have the correct documents in place. You need to be able to monitor quality. You need to do it, and that's why we believe in Do It Dave, and it produces a much better. We believe in Planet Pool's, not Do It Dave, and that's why we believe it provides a much better building at the end of the day. And I know you just need to fight that urge of trying to start on site straight away. So I'm going to leave you with an explainer video that we did a couple of years back. It's a little bit outdated from our branding, but the messages in that explainer video is still true to today. So it's worth just taking that on board and seeing if you want to come from being a Do It Dave to a Planet Pool. Hopefully by the end of it you'll appreciate the planet. It's much better to be a Planet Pool. So if you have any questions, please feel free to get in contact with me. I'm more than happy to answer any of them. So I'm going to leave you with the explainer now. Thank you.
Meet Do It Dave and his lovely new modern home. This morning, Dave got up for his morning shower, but to his surprise, he felt nothing but an ice-cold drip. Someone else must be using the other shower. Sitting down for breakfast with his family, he heard a loud flushing noise, rattling through the ceiling. That evening, Dave wanted to relax with his family in front of the TV. Without Dave even knowing, the air became unhealthy to breathe. Dave realised that his new home had numerous problems through faulty design. Unfortunately for Dave, now it's going to be very expensive to put things right. Being Do It Dave, he was raring to go and had jumped straight in. He had no proper documentation, which meant he could not take his issues to the builder, so the problems remained. Dave had to live in an unhealthy home that did not work for his family. Luckily, there is another way. Meet Planet Paul. He loves to plan and do things right, so he adopted the Healthy Home Movement principles. So when Paul went to tender, he didn't have to deal with the stress of not knowing if the building would work, and was confident the contractor was not simply guessing what he wanted. Once on site, quality was monitored, so when Paul moved in with his family, he was confident that the building was healthy and would work the way he wanted. He was glad he had invested more time at the beginning of the project, because it allowed him to build an efficient, fully functioning, healthy home for his family. Healthy home, healthy family.
Thank you for watching. If you would like to know more about us, please visit our website at www.buildgreat.co.uk. If you have not yet subscribed, please do and join us in the fight against mediocre. Remember, why build mediocre when you can build great?